до слова.
Всіх вас вітаю до нашого українського культурного центру. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the Ukrainian Cultural Center. One of our missions is to provide cultural programs that we sponsor on a regular basis. So this program, I'm sure, is going to be an exciting program for all of you. Thank you, and I'm going to turn the program over to Tamara Denisenko.
We keep on passing the baton. Тепер я ласкаво попрошу Володя Павлюка. Він має деяку приємну нам несподіванку. This time we will also have a little pleasant surprise from our sister city in Poltava. And Volodya Pavlyuk will do announcements.
Добрий вечір, слава Україні. Всім привіт на Фейсбуці. Так, Фейсбук, так? Дуже було приємно провести 4 тижні в Україні. Ми з сім'єю в серпні надихнулися тими емоціями, тою природою, горами. І вам великий привіт з України від всіх. І велике, особливе маю привітання від наших друзів з Полтавщини. Хотів би запросити пані Денисенко. Маємо для пані Тамари та Володимира Денисенко привіт. Щиро дякуємо за незмінну любов до України та полтавців. Сердечно вітаємо з 30-річною річницею незалежності України. Ваша відданість, патріотизм, вміння перемагати дають нам приклад. Завдяки вашій особистій підтримці реалізовані проекти, які мали великий вплив на життя полтавців. Збереження української мови, допомога дітям без батьківського піклування, допомога у спасінні життя новонароджених дітей, допомога воїнам АТО. Все це було здійснено тому, що ви були поруч з полтавцями у час невеликих випробувань. Особлива подяка за ваш організаційний талант, завдяки якому багато полтавців відвідали Америку по програмі «Відкритий світ». Завдяки вам Полтава була серед міст, які приймали конференцію кредитних спілок Америки, Канади та Австралії в рамках Всесвітньої корпоративної ради. Депутат Полтавської міської ради Юліан Матвійчук, голова комітету міст-побратимів Полтава і Радиквой Ольга Климко, волонтер-співзасновниця Полтавського батальйону небайдужих Олександра Сиротенко. Також хотів би запросити Олега Лебедько. Маємо грамоту Українській федеральній кредитовій спілці Олегу Лебедько, головному виконавчому директору. І хотів би попросити Олега, щоб він передав грамоту пані Анні та пану Василю Корнило. Я не бачу, в нас немає тут пані Ірмі Пилишенко, ми маємо аналогічну грамоту, можливо, ми пізніше передамо дружині пана Мірка Пилишенко, пані Ірмі Пилишенко. І маємо грамоту для Рок-Майдан. Дякуємо нашим друзям-полтавцям. Ще хотів би запросити сюди пана Володимира Гаврилова. Родина Денисенко зробила нам дуже гарну пожертву в розмірі $200. І від нашої благодійної організації «Рок-Майдан», від Українського культурного центру ми ще додали $300, так що ми для тої справи, що ви робите з ветеранами, виписали чек на $500. Дякую.
Дуже дякую, Володя, що згадала, то мало бути anonymous. Now I would like to call on Miranda Mintz. We have worked I've gotten to know Miranda because of Mirko's involvement in the Ukrainian Rochester collection, which is now housed at the University of Rochester. We have a great expectation for the future to develop that collection and possibly have interns coming from Ukraine to help translate most of their works and most of the archives, which are in Ukrainian, into English, so that the whole world will be able to see what Rochester was in the past and what it is now, and I'm looking forward to many more years in the future. So Miranda Mims has a special gift to give to our Major General Javarello, and I would like to call both of them to the microphone, and Miranda will make the presentation and give a little background about the gift that she's giving him.
Good evening, everyone. As Mara said, I'm Miranda Mims. I'm the director of the Rare Books Special Collections and Preservations Department at the River Campus Libraries at the University of Rochester. In 2005, Mirko Peleshenko gave a treasure trove of documents dating back to the early 1900s. Most of it handwritten minutes, correspondence, letters from early migrants to Rochester, New York, who set up the community that exists today. And so the records really are amazing. There are over 100 years of documents in this collection, and through the generosity of the Peleshenko family and the Rochester Federal Credit Union, we plan to digitize a lot of these materials and make them accessible through also the translation project that Tamara just mentioned. So we have that amazing collection, but we also have the papers of the late Louise Slaughter, Congresswoman Louise Slaughter. And so one of our missions is really to make sure that our materials are not only accessible here in the local community, but throughout the world. And so we do a lot of digitalization. And so one of the things we did was digitize a lot of video VHS tapes in the collection. And through this, over the last 6 months, maybe a little longer, maybe 8 months ago, we located a really special presentation that was done in 1991 to celebrate Ukraine's independence. And I believe that, Tamara, you were one of the hosts, along with Mirko Peleshenko and Louise Slaughter. And so this is an amazing find that I've already shared with a few members in the community, but I'd also like to share a couple of copies with you as well. It's a really amazing video, and I hope that you will enjoy it and be able to put it into your archives and pass it on to the ambassador.
Thank you very much. I will see our ambassador in Washington, D.C. This coming week. We have an Independence Day reception, 30th years anniversary, on Thursday in Washington, D.C. And I think it's a great opportunity for ambassador to receive that gift,
Yes.
this treasure of history. Thank you very much.
Great, wonderful. And please come to the University of Rochester, to the library, to see the collection at any time. Sure.
I just wanted to add that one of the tapes will be going to the Hennady Udovenko Diplomatic Academy of Ukraine. It was he who was here on December 8th, 1991, when we welcomed him in Rochester City Hall. And many former members who are now celebrating Ukrainian independence in another world were participating in organizing that event. It was from the Rochester Business and Professional Association of Rochester, and some of the members are here with us today. So it was a special video that Miranda found and sent to me. I said, wow, that was me 30 years ago. I cannot believe it. But we also would like to welcome right now Irma Peleshenko. She is here, and I think maybe we can do the presentation of the certificate to Irma. Could you come up while you're standing? Could you come up right now for a minute? Very good timing, thank you. who are here for yesterday and today, through her generous donation to the Ukrainian American Community Foundation that was organized and funded and founded by our Ukrainian Federal Credit Union. I have many ideas for the future, and I'm sure my mission and vision is that that foundation will be the founding backbone of our community for many years to come when we reach $1 million in the foundation, hopefully. But I would like to thank and maybe translate this thank you from Poltava to the wife of Pan Mirko Peleshenko, to Mrs. Irma Peleshenko. Please accept our sincere thank you for your very famous and very good deeds which were given for Ukraine and for Poltava. We greet you on this anniversary of the 30th anniversary of Ukrainian independence. We greet your family, which was an example of love and dedication to Ukraine, to the independence of Ukraine, which was built with your hands. May God bless you for many years. And again, it was signed by Yulia Matvichuk and Olga Klinkov. Maybe some of you know her. She was helpful in establishing and working with me in the Sister City Project for over 25 years. We have a plaque in the town of Ivandokoy that was established for the Holodomor remembrance in 1993 when we signed the agreement. Again, many years ago. And Alexandra Sirotenko, a dedicated young lady who was here from the Open World program. We look forward to having many more Open World delegates coming to Ukraine. But we can only do it together. You and us, like in Ukrainian Credit Union, you are the most important people in this project. Thank you.
Totally unexpected. I have not prepared any words to say, but thank you, and I'll have to have this translated again, I guess.
I'll write it in that.
Thank you. Thank you.
А тепер я попрошу до слова пана генерала Гаврилова, щоб ви представили нашу програму. Ми є тут через вас і через Юрія.
Thank you for coming. First of all, I understand Sunday is a very special day, but nevertheless you are here. I'm a retired Major General Volodymyr Gavrilov. My last position in military was Defense Attaché of Ukraine in the United States in 2015-2018. And now I'm a director of the Veterans Dozen Foundation. Why we are here? Because I would like you to know what is going on with the rehabilitation of wounded warriors in Ukraine. We have many of them, more than 400 participants of this conflict since 2014. Among them, almost 11,000 wounded, and among them, more than 500 amputees. All those guys, they need a mental and physical rehabilitation. And that's why, after retiring from military in 2018, I decided to dedicate part of my life to the programs to give the end of the tunnel, the light in the end of the tunnel for our veterans, wounded veterans, and to make them active in this fight, to make them examples for others. So I will show you a couple of videos, very short, just to understand our mission and to understand what we are doing currently in this subject. And after that, I will move to one of the veterans who is with us today, Yuri Rubenko, who is the author of the book War.ru about events in Ukraine in 2014-15. It's a documentary. It's the first book in English about the war in Ukraine in details in those videos. And so I am very grateful for the occasion to take him here in the United States and to start some kind of presentation of his book to local first of all, Ukrainian communities and also to other public. For example, in Washington, D.C., we have two presentations. One is in Army Navy Club, just opposite White House on Wednesday. And we have another one on Thursday in Congress for congressmen of this book. So it's a great chance. And now just please take a look. It's a very short video to understand our mission. So this started in 2015 when I arrived in Washington, D.C. as a defense attaché. And the next day I was in a military hospital, Walter Reed Medical Center, where the first group of Ukrainian heavy wounded soldiers and officers arrived for treatment. All of them, they barely survived in Ukraine with the character of the injuries. So they were taken here to the best technologists, to the best doctors. And all of them amputees, or with any brain injuries. And next year, in 2016, then all of them, after some kind of treatment and initial rehabilitation, had to be moved back to Ukraine. I had a conversation with each of them, trying to understand what are their plans and what are their vision of their life after that. And nobody could give me a clear answer because they really didn't know. They never experienced that before, nobody talked to them about that. And so I proposed them to use the approach which is very well developed in the United States because of the many wounded veterans here, to try to run 10K distance in Marine Corps Marathon in DC. There is a Marine Corps Marathon organized by US Vietnam War veterans in 1973. Then 100,000 of them moved back to the United States. It was a problem. And at the time, the group of veterans organized that marathon. The first competition attracted approximately 700 people, and now it's a 30,000 participants event. And they have 10K distance in this competition for veterans who have prosthetics, for example, or any other injuries, but they can afford this distance with some kind of training. So I invited our guys to try it. All of them agreed. We spent half a year for training, and then in 2016, I took them for first time in this competition. And the result of this, the 4 months of training and the competition itself, it was a kind of discovery to me, because I really found a result, a positive result. People become more stable, people become more self-sufficient, self-sustained, and they started to believe in life. That's important. After that, all those four guys, amputees, one of them is Vladimir Masnichenko, for example. Next slide. Another one is, it was 2017, next year, for example. One guy was on chair, so the only way he can do something was this. Next slide. It's also one of the 2018 competition for all of them become active in their life. Many of them married and they have children, they have families, they finish their education in different universities, and they represent an example for others. That's important. So their example attracted other veterans to join our project, and so now we have a number of events, not only in Ukraine but also outside. By the way, on this slide, you see the guy, Alexander Popruzhenko. He lost his eye during this war, but he really wanted to try a marathon, so he ran full marathon in Washington, D.C., 42 kilometers. And in the middle of the distance, the second veteran who was accompanying him, he got injured. And so Alexander was alone on the distance, and he asked somebody to assist him with continue running. And this American from Atlanta just agreed, and they just continued to run together until the end. That's one of the projects we have with our British veterans in Scotland. Once a year we take a team to try hiking in mountains, Scottish mountains for 84 kilometers, 24 hours. 24 hours, so they start early in the morning and they finish next morning. It's a real challenge. But for prosthetics, you see one guy here with prosthetic. They have first stage of this course, 37 kilometers. So he succeeded to walk 37 kilometers with a team. Their assistants supported him, and for him it's a very great mental and physical rehabilitation. Next slide. We also call it Carpathian area mountains. Every February we have a group of veterans coming to mountain like Hoverla Mountain, it's a sacred mountain, Mount in Ukraine in 2019. This year is in 2019. This year we try to take Mount Petros in Ukraine, also with another group. Every time we take almost new veterans. It's not the club. Every time we say others who took part in our events that you're okay, back to your life, be example, just encourage others. We have too many to be treated. So this Mount Petros this year we didn't succeed to go to the end because of the weather. You can imagine. This is Ukraine. This is Ukraine. This is something Kilimanjaro or something like that. We have very good relations with our local government in Kyiv, and they give free of charge access for our project at the National Olympic Stadium in Ukraine. So twice a week we have training for veterans, and also we invite guys like this with prosthetics to see what is going on, and we communicate with them, and I know that one of them is our guy. He is ready to try more than to see what is going on. Next slide. It's also photos from those competitions. You see some familiar faces here. Alexander Tereshchenko. He was here in Rochester on Open Well program, thanks to Tamara. So this time he asked me to bring his book, new book. He wrote a book to Rochester and present it to the local library. So I've done it. His book is here. Next slide. And also this girl, all her band, she lost her limb, during the war. We took her to our project. In 2014, she ran 10K racing with us in Marinko Marathon in DC. After that, she married. She gave birth to the second child, and she is now a successful businessman. And I would like just in the end of this slideshow to present short video about where she is now. You will see. Next. Вот это и ветеранка. Very emotional example, but I remember her in 2018 when we started to talk about the running, and she was not in the best mental condition at the time. So, but she agreed, and I'm very happy that she's back to her life. Second child recently birth. And so, what we are doing now, for example, I'm here with a team of next veterans for hiking on Appalachian Trail hiking with American veterans next Saturday. So we have 12, the team of 12. All of them, most of them are wounded warriors. Fortunately, no prosthetics this time because it's a very tough course. So we decided not to take amputees. But nevertheless, it's part of our team, not all of them here. During the training in Ukraine, and there is a course we start in Dumont, Virginia, and finish in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, 40 kilometers day light course. And after that, our next event, which are taking part in the CD10 in the end. This year we had the first military run competition in Ukraine, similar to Marinko Marathon here. If United States started in 1973, we in Ukraine started in 2021. So first time on 10 October, we start close to the palace of the president of Ukraine, and the commanding chief of armed forces is running with us, and many active military are running with us, and we are organizers together with armed forces in one foundation, Spring Foundation, Veterans Dozen Foundation. We are organizers of this event. It's very exciting, and I hope it will become traditional, historical, and in the future it will be kind of European Marine Corps marathons, because we are the only country which is in war now still, and we are the only country in Europe where there are so many wounded military. So we have to be creative, we have to be active, and we have to present example to other countries, in NATO countries, who never been in war like we. So they have armies, they have some equipment, they have some traditions, but they never paid their own blood in real battle to defend their countries. We do it every day. We do it every day. Unfortunately, we still have wounded almost every week as minimum. And many of them amputees, so the numbers are growing. So once a month, I visit our military medical center to talk to those guys. And I know that among 10, 1 or 2 are ready to join our project. Others, they require other approaches. Maybe not running, maybe not walking, but maybe some kind of horsing or swimming or something else. It's very individual. So that's the mission of Veterans Dozen Foundation, which I represented here during our tour in the United States. Thank you. And one of the members of our team during this Appalachian Trail hiking, Yuri Rubenko, he is with us. He's an author of, I would like to invite him. He's an author of the book, War Don't Rule.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I ask you forgive me for my bad English, but I will try to do my best. War.ru. Why this book calls like this? It's very, very simple. Russia versus Ukraine. War, Russia versus Ukraine. This is a real fact. And the name of the book is similar like name of the site. This made with a reason. It's because Russia provides hybrid war. Hybrid war is the war when you use, first of all, not military, but media, terrorism, some civil people, deceptions, bribes, criminals, but not military. And only after all those media, crime, and other tools failed, only after that you use army. And it happens that Russian Federation in 2014 managed to decept part of Ukrainian people, most of Russian people, and they tried to decept other world. And in some cases they succeed, but Ukraine managed, for now we can say that we managed to restore the truth. All civilized world believes and knows who is aggressor, who is a victim of aggression. But all Russian methods was created not by Russian General Staff or Putin or Shoigu or other those guys. Those methods were decided even before the Goebbels. But Russian Federation and those guys, and we cannot respect that, but we must understand that they do their evil job well, unfortunately. And to fight this hybrid aggression, there are only two reasons. First is to restore the truth, and it's much more simple than lie about everything like doing Russia. Ukraine now have Ukraine not necessary to lie, to tell all the world some fairy tales about их там нет.
We are not there.
About we are not here and about those miners or another civil people that made some kind of revolt on the eastern Ukraine, and they get tanks, artillery, MLRS, and ammunition for it from the mines or buy on a shop. All this is a fairy tale. Ukraine not needed to tell all the world fairy tale. Ukraine must only to say how it was in real. And development of social media, internet, television helps Russia to deceive all people, but it also is like a two-sharp blade. It also helps Ukraine to restore truth, to make it visible. And everyone, military, civil, Russian soldier, Ukrainian soldier, doesn't matter, who has a smartphone, he's a journalist, he's a documenter. Just because he has a camera, he has a notepad, he has a recorder, all this covered in smartphone. And now a smartphone has everyone. And I tell you funny and maybe not funny story, funny but tragical story. When Russian book from 53rd Brigade of Russian 53rd Brigade, Russian missile brigade, that anti-aircraft brigade. Well, okay. Then Russia shot down MH17 over the eastern Ukraine. Sometime after that, in the internet appeared photos. On that photos, some Russian soldier, young soldier, conscript, he's even not been on Ukraine territory, he not participated in war, but his task was to take this book, get it on a trailer, and transport it to borderline. And this soldier has few days to retirement. And he made several photos, like he going on the highway, like he guarding this book, and there are nothing criminal and nothing bad in these photos. Russian soldier take Russian weapon on Russian territory. This is not terrorism, this is not aggression. But this soldier sent this photo to his mom. Mom, look, mom, I'm serving, I'm a soldier, it's okay. And this mom made for this son like Дембельский альбом. Як це буде? Ну, є таке розуміння? Дембельський альбом.
There are some phrases which are not translated.
Like a book where he collected all photos from military service. And these photos, this woman put these photos on some kind of forum where moms of soldiers спілкуються. Communicate. And these photos in some way get to the top of the internet. And only by this situation it was clear understand how the book and what kind of war machine was transported to the border, how it was transported here, and from what direction and from what military unit it was. So, situation that in the first look have no dependence on Russian-Ukrainian war helps to investigation of major and maybe most important event of first year of Russian-Ukrainian war. Just after that, after shooting MH17, Russian Federation realized that they cannot manage to hide their aggression. And such situation was continually repeated in different cases, in different styles, but Russian soldiers helped to break Russian lies. They don't want it, but they managed.
Видео покажите.
Відео я не покажу. Відео я не покажу, але ну. And this book, it wrapped in cellophane just because COVID. This book covers the first year of Russian-Ukrainian war. It's especially made very thin. It's very, very laconic depiction of all situation. I am working on restoring of history of Russian-Ukrainian war for more than 6 years. I began to do it even before my demobilization. I wrote, this is my third book about Russian-Ukrainian war, and parallel to writing, I working like director of documentaries on television. So history of Russian-Ukrainian war, this is my job. And about on every 1 day of first year of Russian-Ukrainian war, I can write a book, we can make a full blockbuster movie, and it will be like Saving Private Ryan. There are many events that happened in one time. But all people have no time to study all events one by one, just because there's a very large amount of information. So it was all needed information was put in one very thin book. Day by day, from annexion of Crimea to the battle for Sloviansk, Luhansk, Ilovaisk, till the battle of Debaltseve. And even two very important moments. When you open this book, you will see text. It's okay, it's the book, it's maybe. And even on each page, you will find the historical
Historical review.
Historical review about any unit, any military unit that was involved in the war, Russian, Ukrainian, both. You will find historical review of most important political and military people, about presidents, about military commanders, about terrorist leaders, about all of them. You can find review about military equipment. You can find review. You can find maps. all this additional information also made very laconic, just to save your time. And this book, not for generals or maybe war experts, this for civil people. This for people who want to understand what is going on, but don't want to learn field manuals and other stuff. And here also there are QR codes. This is the links to real video from this scene. So you, for example, reading about Donetsk airport, and you can watch it. You read about liberation of Slavyansk, you can watch it. Here is about 300 of videos. There are Ukrainian videos, there are Russian videos, there are videos from Western journalists and video from Russian journalists. No quotes, no censor at all. This, maybe this is the most thin documentary about Russian-Ukrainian war. But if you want to understand what is going on, this is the beginning. And I will finish this book and go a little further. We take for you some books from Ukraine. They are not translated to English. This book is written from Ukrainian and translated into English. It's very easy to read. But now in Ukraine, we have more than 500 veterans books that made in paper already. There are documentaries, there are fiction, there are memoirs, there are even love stories and mystics. Many different genres. And it can sound like some kind of like proposition. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it will be interesting for somebody of you. We are in Ukraine interested to spread, deliver this information about Russian-Ukrainian war around the world. This is some part of our war, some part of our informational war. It's okay. And one of the goals that we came here is to tell Western people, tell American people that we open to communication and to cooperation. Maybe among you and or maybe you know somebody who has resources or even will to make a translation and distribution books about Russian-Ukrainian war in USA. Maybe. So, last words. This is the work of Alexander Terещенко. You can see him on a slideshow before. This man lost in Donetsk airport both his hands. And only after that, have no hands at all, he write a book, 2 fingers, and this is very good book. When you, I read them all, this is part of my profession. If you, when you reading this book, you understand that problem, bad weather, headache, problem with the money, there's nothing. There are many people who have much more better problems and they solve it. And when you read this book, you take a resource and straight to solve your problems, some kind of it. Thank you very much. And before I go in here, I write down a speech, very big speech, and I'm a writer, so I made some drama and some of the stuff, and as always, I say all different. And but the last sentence was very important, just because I working in researching of history and all the eras of Russian-Ukrainian war, so I can talk about it for hours and days. And maybe if you have some question, I'm happy to answer. Thank you. Okay.
We have very limited number of books with us here, and after the event, Yuri is ready to sign it, to use it occasion. I would like to express our gratitude to the Rochester community, first of all, to Urma. Thank you very much for your also generous contribution. Tamara, she's doing her best. Many other people I know, they're very energetic and very open-minded in what is going on in Ukraine. We also have a lot of support from other communities in the United States. And I've been very impressed with the number of Ukrainians who are living here in the US during the war, who started to understand that they're Ukrainians. And the war is a kind of fusion process for a nation. And in small cities, sometimes unpredictable cities, I once have been in Houston, for example. Houston, a huge Texas city, and they don't have a big community of Ukrainians. But when I visited our wounded soldier there in the local hospital, we tried to recover him there. I've been surprised to see young Ukrainians from the fourth wave of immigration who are working in Texas. Many of them quite successful. But they created a small community of people who are ready to support Ukraine in that tough period. And so we had a meeting. They don't have a club. They don't have a cultural center. So they just hired one hotel, some small place, and we had a nice conversation. And there are no so many examples here. So we feel that connection between the U.S. and also with U.S. veterans of all associations. Next week we have a joint hiking in on Appalachian Trail with American veterans, military veterans. Nothing to do with Ukraine, but they're American. But we have a joint rehabilitation project, and we come together. They communicate wounded veterans between themselves, and this communication is a part of the mental recovery as well. So it was in 2 words what we are doing, what is our mission. Thank you once again for your coming, and we are open if you have any question. If not, we continue tomorrow with the program, and Yuri after that is ready to sign his books to everybody who is in this room. Thank you.
Are there any questions now? We still have some time. We'd like to address them to our special visitors. I'd also like to remind again that we have special visitors, Miroslav Marinovich, who will be speaking tomorrow at the University of Rochester at 7:30, sharing his experience as a prisoner of conscience and who, also fought for Ukraine in a different generation. So I hope all of you will come and support our efforts at the University of Rochester as well. Any questions? Maybe after our special program, we have some wonderful performers. Our community will be enjoying the 3 groups. So after that, we cordially invite you to purchase a book, have it signed by the author, and we will also be donating books to the University of Rochester, to our Ukrainian Credit Union Library, to the Irondequoit Library, and just another plug for our exhibit at Irondequoit Library about the 4 waves of Ukrainians in Rochester, thanks to the efforts of Mirko Peloshenko, thanks support of the Belashenko family. And please take a look, because those archives are at the University of Rochester, which we hope will grow with additional information. And we will also donate a book to the Webster Library. Since our cultural center is in Webster, it would behoove us to also start a partnership and a relationship with the Webster Library. The more knowledge, the better. And I always say, you must have heard me say before, учіться, брати мої, думайте, читайте, чужого навчайтесь, свого не цурайтесь. І ми мусимо то ділитися із ширшою нашою громадою. То щиро дякую за ваші тут, що ви присутні, і тепер я покличу наших ансамбль Мальви, що почали нашу співучу мелодійну програму. Щиро дякую.
Добрий вечір всім, ми група Мальви, тому що я знаю, що ми маємо декілька гостів, які розмовляють тільки англійською, я просто скажу, про що буде пісня. Пісня називається «Біля тополі», і ми також їх розповідаємо українською, але я просто хочу перекласти. Just because we have some guests that speak Ukrainian, so I would like to translate what the song is going to be about. This song is for all the soldiers, for all the heroes, for the organization U10, and we have here representatives for everything that they do. So the song is next to the cottonwood. Cottonwood is a very cultural tree, a very significant tree in Ukrainian culture. Represents the statue, represents the, it's very present in the culture everywhere. So the song goes, it's quiet outside and you can only hear mother's words ascending at night to the Kozak. Can you see my son? The candle will not stop lightning. The candle stays on. The candle is lit, and it will be lit forever. Young man, young Kozak. Next to the cottonwood, there's a mother, and her eyes are waiting for you. Her hair is already gray. She's got gray hair. She's crying, and she's waiting for her son, but his soul is with God. Mother, I went to fight for the freedom. I went far. For the truth, for the future of the new generations, for those who are far in the sea. Just like the birds, I flew, and I'm gonna come back alive. The year has passed, the spring is here, but there is no peace in my soul. There was none, and there's still not here. The father is tired. He is plowing through the new road. His son was supposed to follow him, but he's not there. Young man, young Kozak. Golden valleys, they go into the sky, and it's sad everywhere. The cottonwood is bending. There are old parents with the eyes covered with tears. They're saying goodbye to their son, but he's a hero. Young man, young Kozak.
Летіли
чудові наші співаки, наші дівчата, наші жінки. Маю надію, що в місяці березні, коли є Міжнародний місяць жіноцтва, ми зробимо ще концерт разом з Susan B. Anthony House. Я розказувала нашим гостям про Susan B. Anthony, що тут у Рочестері, ми хоч маленьке містечко, але почалося рух для жінок, щоб дістати право голосу. I just explained about our Susan B. Anthony Museum, and also we have the Director for Development, Lesa Deleha, working at the museum. So hopefully, together with the Ukrainian Rochester Collection in March, we can do something together with Susan B. Anthony House, our lovely singers, and more in the month of March. So I'm looking at Miranda, building a partnership for the future. And now I would like to call on Yulia Pavlyukret for the next beautiful singing.
Доброго вечора, дорогі друзі. Вітаю вас сьогодні на цьому закладі. Від імені Рок-Майдану, від імені української громади в Рочестері ми хочемо висловити безмежну вдячність всім ветеранам, всім військовим, які на даний момент перебувають, які пройшли свій шлях, які віддали своє життя, на жаль, які поранені, вернулися. І я впевнена, що не всі, навіть ті, які повернулися цілі фізично, в них довгий шлях повернення до нормального життя. Ми цінуємо, ми пам'ятаємо вашу безмежну працю і дуже дякуємо вам, що ви продовжуєте нести в світ ваші знання і ваші досвіди, і щоб світ знав про це, про агресію Росії. Дякуємо. І моя пісня про мамину молитву. Кожна мама молиться за те, щоб її діти були здорові, а особливо ті, які, на жаль, мусять захищати нашу рідну землю. Як же я молилася, дитино моя, своїм єдиним бажанням, що була щасливою доля твоя, щоб горе не зустрів так рано. Ну а ти зустрів війну, подивився в очі, і тепер я не засну я до півночі. Буду я молитися, просити Бога, щоб вернув тебе живого. Буду я молитися, просити Бога, щоб вернув тебе живого. Молитва, молитва в серці найсильніша, просить мама Бога, щоб від сина не залишив. Що ж тобі казати, коли в нас обійдеш, коли міцно тримаєш ти зброю? Це твоя земля, і краще її не знайдеш, ти мій син і правда за тобою. Побажаю я тобі слави, сили, волі України, русини, ви тепер герої. Мами Богу моляться, молитва лине, щоб вернулись живими. Мами Богу моляться, молитва лине, щоб вернулися живими. Мамина молитва в світі найсильніша,
Які чудові наші таланти, правда? А тепер на завершення нашої мистецької частини попрошу нашого дуже здібного скрипаля Костю Губівника, який ходить до Eastman School of Music, вже закінчує цього року і має надію, що він колись вийде світової слави, і ми можемо туди похвалитися, сказати «Made in Rochester».
I was made in Ukraine, but I was molded in Rochester for a while, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, Tamara, for inviting me. And I'm going to play you guys a very unique fantasy on some Hutu themes. Because my dad is coming from Hutu region of Ukraine, which is sort of like the Ukrainian Appalachia. So the music there is very unique and cool. But this is a really cool arrangement that me and my friend actually made one day in Ukraine when I was back home. And it sort of uses the motifs and mixes them with some of the popular music tendencies. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
on that happy note, we conclude today's program here. I would like to call on Ukrainian American veterans to come up front so we can take a group picture with our visitors from Ukraine, because I'd like to have that picture also for our 75th anniversary next year being celebrated by the Ukrainian American veterans. And that is a true milestone. And after that, I would like to invite everybody to purchase a book, have it signed by the author, and maybe even General Havrilo could put his initials in the book as well, since he did some of the translations, right? And so thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And please extend invitation for others to purchase the book on Amazon. It will also be available. Please stay for some coffee, some sweets, socializing, and hopefully we will get together again with twice the number of participants at our next community event soon, when we will be presenting our poetry book from our Rochester Ukrainians over the past 100 years. Again, on the initiative, Ermai Smiling, Mirko Peleshenko. He collected poems from our local individuals, and it will be published by our Mr. Amiron Babyuk before the end of the year, he promised. So, щиро дякую за вашу участь.